Evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out today. Let me do a quick check. How does everything sound for you guys? Are we live? Is everything sounding like it's working? Are we all right? Oh, I believe the chat box is actually over the chat itself. That's quite unproductive. There we are. Yes, thank you all very, very much for coming out. Oh, there we go. Thank you guys so much for the supers. Oh, it's been quite a morning. I've spent quite a while getting ready for today, because today is quite special to me. I've never really shared too much about my past with anybody besides Onigiri, who I have to say was very, very helpful in helping me organize my notes for today. So, because when you're my age, events, years, they blur together quite thoroughly, and it can be difficult to sort of tell the difference between some things and others. So it might take me a while to understand quite the depth of what I want to say, but there are a collection of stories that I've thought about from parts of my history that I'd like to share with you all today. At the ripe old age of 400, yes. You guys see Ike's karaoke today? I'm definitely not stalling. Oh, he did so well. And I'm not even that mad about getting rejected. I'm just very, very pleased that he had such a wonderful day. He was doing numbers today, wasn't he? He was doing insanely well. Oh, my goodness. It doesn't matter to me if we're married or not. I'm just glad that he's spending some time doing what he loves. Always a next time. That's so right. There's always a next time. So, without further ado, why don't we hop on in and check out some of the stories that I have for you today. Just pulling up my notes now. Onigiri, as much as I like to bully him, and as much as he likes to bully me, he was a big help in putting my thoughts together for this, so I'd like you all to please say thank Mr. Onigiri, because he's been very, very good to me. Oh, I'm gonna be fine, Onigiri. Shush your mouth. Shut yourself. Right. Looking back, the year was 1922. Or it might have been 1924. 27? No, to be honest, like I said, it all kind of blurs together after a while. Point is, I think it was the 1920s. We'd gone through the First World War and the flu pandemic, which was literally 10 times worse than the current one, but let's not get into that. And I'd had a hell of a time trying to find someplace safe to stay. Demons don't get the flu, but being around too many dying humans brought back a lot of bad memories, and it made me... I don't think I want to explain that either. So there I was, looking for a little stress relief. I had just sold the land I'd acquired in my latest post-war conquest. She was a very nice lady. I may tell that story another time as well. And I decided to move to Paris in search of new people, new faces. I didn't speak French, but that was where the most interesting and wealthy people of the time liked to gather, so I went anyway. It was an amazing time. I wish you could have all seen it. There were some of the best parties I've ever been to. The company was absolutely fascinating. Intellectual types, writers, artists, musicians, and it was wonderful. For a time. Everything was fun and interesting. But after a while, it just wasn't what I was looking for. I hadn't been back to Japan in a while, and I wasn't planning on it right then because things were pretty rough there. Food riots, the government being absolute shit. I was running out of cash, and I thought I was going to have to head home. Until one night. Have any of you seen the critically acclaimed documentary The Princess and the Frog? I can assure you that it was 100% historically accurate. Americans were making money hand over fist after the war, and the only thing they couldn't buy was nobility. It didn't matter what kind of inbred little weasel you were. If your name started with Lord something something, you had your pick of rich families fighting over you as a son-in-law. And Kindred, I may have a small confession to make. I am very, very, very good looking. I know. I've been hiding it for this long, but I feel like I owe it to my beloved clan to tell the truth at last. Now, throughout the years, there have been some clever humans who might have guessed my secret, and it's been a blessing and a curse. Being a demon, that's mostly been fine. Most humans don't recognize me for what I am, and I don't go around telling them about it. They'll think I'm insane, or run away screaming, or try to kill me. Or try to fuck me, which, let's be honest, usually happens anyway. Which brings me to that night in Paris. It was a nice, quiet evening. I was lounging away with just a few dozen hangers-on, drink in hand, taking in the scenery. Right around midnight, there's some kind of commotion by the door. I look up, and I see a young lady walk across the room like she owns the place, and then I see a young man right behind her. I figured they're a married couple. Someone says something about the Morgans or the Millers. I don't remember. We'll call them the Morgans. It was a very prominent family, is the point. And do you know, it turns out the young lady there was with her brother, neither of them married. I'm not an idiot. Oh, shut up, Onigiri, I'm not an idiot. And I know an opportunity when I see one. Or two. I decide, you know what, I'll send someone to buy them each a drink from Lord... Oh crap, I don't know what name I was using at that point in time, because I went through a lot of them. It's not good to stick with a name that's terribly well known. And Vox Akuma does kind of bring in a good amount of... It doesn't sound terribly normal, does it? But either way, whichever one I was using, I used to buy them a drink, just to see what happens. Well, not 10 minutes later, I've got some little prick in a bow tie coming over and telling me how lucky I am that Miss Morgan wants me to sit with them. I tell them, I don't think I will. I'm not feeling well tonight and I don't have the energy to entertain anyone. And then I go right back to talking to 5 people at once. Ooh. The look on his face still keeps me warm on cold nights. I thought I'd have to play hard to get for a while, or maybe come back another day, but no. The next time I get up to stretch my legs, wouldn't you know it? Miss Morgan is standing across the room, looking right at me. She raises her glass, and then her brother comes up beside her, and they're both giving me the most communicative look. They're horny for me. That's what they're communicating. Well, I'm nothing if not prudent, and I take a couple moments to think it over. She's not bad looking. I like how confident she is. She's interested, sure, but she's waiting for me to come to her. Then there's her brother, and he is absolutely... I remember fucking smoking hot. Seriously, this is one of the balls-out prettiest human beings I've ever seen. Several of you have been kind enough to say that I make you question your heterosexuality, but this guy... And it's not just that, or them being rich. There are a lot of rich people you literally couldn't pay me to associate with. Now, these are some of the most influential people alive at the time. And I'm here precisely because I want to find someone like that. Nobody can rebuild a clan without the money and the prestige to back it up. And it's going to be another 100 years before I can get on the internet to reach this many people at once. So I figure, oh, why the hell not? You know how in movies and romance novels there's always that scene on a balcony where the heroine or whoever is standing there with a wine glass, and then someone comes out to stand next to them, and then sex happens. Well, I go outside, and what do you know? There's... Fuck, I don't remember. We'll call them Mary and Jonathan. There's Mary and Jonathan standing around with their little wine glass, and they were as if they were waiting for me. Back then, you couldn't just walk up to someone and say, "Why, hello, attractive person. Oh, I'd like to get to know you and then destroy you in bed. I'd like to know if you feel the same way." You really couldn't say it if you were the same gender. But as a great man once said, life finds a way. So I introduce myself to these lovely people, and they introduce themselves, and we go from there. Mary was 24 or 25, and Jonathan was 28. I do remember for a fact. Did I mention he was ludicrously hot? Probably, yeah. I talk with them for hours, until the club shuts down for the night. And I enjoy myself immensely. They're charming, witty, highly educated, and obviously highly interested. They invite me back to the hotel with them when they leave, which fucking... obviously. But when we get there, the front desk stops us on the way to the elevator and says someone's waiting to speak with them in the lobby. I can tell Mary's pissed off. She had this really fucking funny thing she'd do. She's going, damn it. Nasal, you know, stunning high, sliding down in pitch, or whatever it is. But Jonathan's giving me that look, you know. You know, like, don't fucking laugh. So I don't. I'm pissed too, because I'm an incandescent with horniness, and then someone says, Lord Vox. And of course, I turn around to look. And what do you know? It's another Japanese gentleman. Now that wasn't unheard of. There was some phenomenal Japanese artists with us in Paris, just amazing. But anyway, this guy is calling me my real name. And I'm wondering if I got drunk and told it to someone while I was partying, or if he might know me from elsewhere. He's being very polite, but he's obviously important enough to make these rich kids stop and talk to him. His clothes are expensive. He doesn't look like a writer or a musician. You know where I'm going with this, right? The moment I see this guy, I figure he has ties to organized crime. I want to know if he's with the mob, or the Yakuza, perhaps. There are a lot of legends floating around the underworld, and I don't even know what people are still saying about me, so I just say hello, and I ask him his name, in English. This is Mr. Kaneshiro, says Jonathan, and Kaneshiro tells me what an honor it is to make my acquaintance. Now, believe it or not, I don't like to make too much of a splash in public places. I find somewhere I like, and I get a feel for the people there, and I tell them what to remember about me. A 400-year-old demon with a magical voice is not something people forget about until you make them. The way this guy's talking, it's like we're old friends or something, which I'm not a fan of, but I have to play it nice until I figure out what he wants. And now that he said my real name, we have to do the whole routine of, oh, I thought you were Lord So-and-so. And I have to make up something about my mixed heritage and how I'm not ashamed to be Asian. It's simply easier to tell people about my mother's French and British background. You know how it is. And then Jonathan starts speaking in French, and I'm thinking that I just want to get laid, and what the fuck is happening? Meanwhile, Mary is doing that kind of thing that women do when they're supposed to be nice, but they want you to fucking die. She kind of smiles at Kaneshiro-san and says, I'm sure it's wonderful to see one of your fellow countrymen. Too bad it's so late. We should all meet for lunch tomorrow. And of course he's like, no, it feels like fate to be here together, and blah blah blah, and we end up with all the four of us having a drink in his room. Nobody is naked. None of us are happy but him. The good thing is, Kaneshiro-san is Japanese-American and speaks quite good English. And at that point, I've been away from home long enough that I'm already better in English than Japanese. We talk about music and politics and what kind of booze everyone likes, which takes the conversation right into what I've been figuring this whole time. Kaneshiro-san is their family's connection to the mob. It seems he's been helping to coordinate some of the Morgan's less savory business efforts. The vast majority of Japanese immigrants were good people, model citizens, but in this case his family were bootleggers throughout most of the East Coast, looking to expand their operations in New York. To be honest, I don't think Mary or Jonathan had even thought about going into business with them. They were just about as down bad as any of you filthy degenerates. And to be very honest, when I thought about it on the ride to the hotel, I figured I'd better not marry her. The family was actually too important. They'd insist on seeing a birth certificate and all sorts of crap I didn't have. It's very hard to remain inconspicuous when your photograph is in every tabloid in the country. That was actually around the time when widespread print tabloids became a thing. But I have to admit, Kaneshiro-san had a way with words. We're sitting there hating his guts, and then he's going on about how poor leadership got the world into such a terrible state, and how he prefers to operate his business with as little collateral damage as possible, taking care of the people beneath him like a family. Not to bore you with too much history, but you have to understand that in Japan at the time, Yakuza were working directly with the authorities to control anti-business or anti-government activities through violence. Kaneshiro says how deplorable it is, and there should be honor among the wicked, very poetic. He starts speaking in Japanese and plays it off like he doesn't know how he's doing it. But I can tell he's trying to get Mary and Jonathan out of there. And it works. They get bored and ask me to come see them tomorrow and leave. I'm still kind of mad because there's an excellent chance I just missed out on a threesome fit for a king, but Kaneshiro-san keeps talking and he's making a lot of sense. He knows exactly who I am and tells me how honored he is at the chance to make my acquaintance. How he grew up on the story of me standing up to Tokugawa even at the cost of my own life. You don't see that kind of loyalty to oneself and one's people anymore. Very flattering stuff. Well, as one smooth talker to another, I know when someone is trying to sell me on something, and I usually don't buy it. I can also make him forget about it any time I want to, just by telling him so. But this guy knows what he's doing. The chance to have a new clan again, keeping people safe and happy after everyone's suffered so much. Needless to say, I am very, very interested. The conversation ends with me agreeing to accompany him and the Morgans back to New York, with a strong possibility of coming to an agreement with their family. Come. Anyway, they pay for my first-class passage on, I don't know the name of it, some luxury liner. Those things were built like floating palaces. My room on that ship was big enough for 15 people, and let me tell you, it did have several people in it. I won't go into too much detail because there are young ears listening, and I also don't want to get demonetized, but let's discuss business, I can tell you that much. Yeah. Needless to say, at this point, I was getting along very well with the Morgans, and I made myself at home in their social circle. No one cared if I had different names or what ethnicity I might be. Kaneshiro-san knew exactly who to talk to get the paperwork to show I had some title or another. I don't even remember if we said I was a Japanese duke or an Eastern European baron or what, but like I said, it didn't matter. I looked and acted the part, and that was all anyone really wanted. I actually liked Mary by the end of the trip. She was hilarious when she was drunk, and she was a damn good poker player. Jonathan was a nice lad, and was definitely good at poker, if you know what I mean. Anyway, it was about 12 hours before our arrival in New York, and I was up late. I'd had another nightmare about that night in the castle, so I went out on deck for some fresh air. It was another movie moment, but instead of a sexy rendezvous on a balcony, it was the part where you're about to walk around the corner and you stop dead because you hear your friend talking shit about you. Oh. Now, I don't know how drunk Kaneshiro was, but he had to have been pretty fucking drunk, because he was going on about how well the plan was working. Turns out there were still quite a lot of people who wanted to get their hands on me. He was just waiting for me to get things under control before he told the wrong people who I was and collected a very large bounty. I'm not a child. This wasn't my first betrayal. I didn't start crying, or rush out and demand to know how he could do this to me, or disembowel him with a dinner fork. I took a moment to ask myself, what would happen if I played along, got situated, and killed the little fucker before word got around? Mary and Jonathan had my real name, and all I had to do was tell them how it was a silly nickname from my youth, and it'd be kind of them to not repeat it. I could still have my new clan, just worry about the details later. I have quite the vivid imagination. I knew what would likely happen if I let things go according to plan. We would disembark, take the train back to the family home in Baltimore. I'd charm the pants off of anyone who needed charming, either marry into or just get handed as much money as I wanted, and meet Kaneshiro's associates. Kill him, kill whoever else was in the way, hire my own bodyguards and informants, and rule the way that I was meant to. And have everything I wanted, for as long as I lived. Watch my clan grow, witness their lives from birth to death, whether they lived to old age or were gunned down protecting me. The problem with that was I didn't need my imagination. I know what it feels like when my followers die, kindred. I know what happens when I'm too close to humans dying in large numbers. I had to ask myself if it was worth it to follow my dreams and take what was rightfully mine, to prevent more disease and wide-scale murder, or the misery that could be avoided with real leadership. I'd just seen Akuma Castle again in my nightmares. There was a reason I hadn't already found a rich family to take over or done much of anything in the past 320 years, and the fact I'd gotten bored and lonely did not change reality. If you want to say I was scared, well, I didn't marry anyone, or kill anyone, at least not then. All I did was sneak into his room and read his telegrams to see who he'd been talking to about me, burned several of them, dumped all the liquor all over the carpets, and took some cash and some other valuables to make it look like a robbery. Mary and Jonathan weren't bad people, just a bit snobbish. Not very considerate of those beneath them. So I only took a few of their things. And I fucking ransacked every other room I could get the keys for, collected a tidy little sum before I trashed my room. just for fun. As an experiment, I wrote a ransom note in English and Japanese pretending someone had kidnapped me and wanted $10,000 for my safe return. Google says that's about $140,000 in modern money, pretty much pocket change to a rich person. And I saw myself off the ship, thanks to a gentleman who didn't remember rowing me to shore and giving me directions to get out of the city before the ship arrived. I did do one silly thing, though. I stayed in a lower-class hotel for a week or so, till the date I put down in the ransom note, and then I went to the rendezvous point. No one ever came. That was the first one that Onigiri and I wrote down. Yeah, no, it's a surprisingly low amount of sex happened. It was quite frustrating, but oh well, you know, these things happen. Oh, this has been good. Let me read some supers real quick. JS, thank you for the super. I'm gonna sleep listening to my lord's story. Love you. I love you too. Thank you very much for the super. Hane, thank you for the super as well. My lord, I'm super happy to keep up with Storytime Live for the first time. I love you. Love you too. Thank you very much. And Alex, my lord, I love you. Could you please scold me? I'm ready. And then a bunch of pufferfish faces. Hope you'll understand. But I'm going into my past. I'm feeling like I might need to take a break from scolding for a little bit. But thank you anyway. Sorhe Osorge Live. That's a long name. I'm sorry. Hello from France, my lord. Thank you for your story time. I'm so happy to be able to follow your lives. Thanks for everything. Love you. May you say in French? Je t'aime, mon amour. Oh. It's a lovely language. Aimi-chan, thank you for the super. And Orion Nebula says, so no head. Yes. There was no head. No head was had, unfortunately. Sleepy Ghost, don't say that name to me. That's traumatic, please. And Jazz, thank you for the super as well. Okay. Why don't we move on? Because I've got another story to tell you all. I'm glad you guys like the French. And Dorothy, thank you for the super. And Bijou as well. Poker? I hardly know her. Right. So, for this next one, I'm pretty well certain the year was 1984. I wasn't feeling my best. I had just been doing things. I don't know exactly where. I swear, I'm not trying to be difficult. I just hadn't had a very good time. Most years look the same after a couple centuries. You know what I mean. The only way to measure time passing was how much the world changed in the 20th century. We had some big advances in the 1800s, mostly pollution. The Industrial Revolution sucked ass, and to be honest, the 1900s were absolutely fucking insane. From horse-drawn vehicles to people flying around the globe, I remember when most things happened based on whether cars existed at the time. It was easy to get around, and humans were always coming up with new things to do, but still, I was starting to wonder if I was going to spend the rest of my life like that, feeling sort of empty and always at loose ends. It was 1984, and I met an older woman, a widow who wanted a companion on a trip to Miami. I don't know how much you all know about Miami in the 1980s, but it was quite a place. Sorry, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. Imagine 1930s Paris with worse fashion and no class whatsoever, and a much bigger chance of getting gunned down and killed. International travel being easier meant there was a lot more opportunity for people to hate each other, but the lady I accompanied was very respectable. I think her name was Miss Jackson. She had several relatives in the area she wanted to visit, and I'll be honest, I was picturing a sort of aunt or grandmotherish situation where she would stay in a decent hotel and leave me to my own devices during the day, where she went off on boat rides or feeding alligators or whatever people do with their kids in Florida. No. We got a penthouse at the top of a very nice hotel, and she had people over every night to party until 5 in the morning. I'm not going to go into detail, because despite what my right-hand ogre will tell you, I do have some decency. Suffice to say, we had a very good time. The problem was that Miami was a hotspot for criminal activity. As I said before, I have a bit of a reputation among certain groups. This time, I had a better cover story in place, including some business cards and different makeup than usual. Things were going really well for a while. I met plenty of unsavory characters, but I smiled and nodded and made them hear whatever I wanted to, and we were just fine, and, the end. I'm kidding. We had run into plenty of criminals for a good time, including a couple of Yakuza, but I used the good old voice box to get around anyone who wanted to know more about me, and things were going quite swimmingly. Then, one night at the penthouse, I saw a group of people walk in, and I got a very bad feeling. I was about to pretend I had the runs and get out of there when this woman turned and started staring at me. Now, I don't mind being stared at. Frankly, it feels weird if people aren't looking at me. This was different. She wasn't horny or curious or anything like that. She just stared at me. She didn't even move. And do you know why I had that terrible feeling, Kindred? It was because at least half of that group, maybe 10 or 15 people, weren't human. They were yokai in disguise. Humans nowadays are very open-minded about demons, sharks, butterflies, dragons, foxes, and other beings interacting with them. But in the 80s, if you weren't human, you had to look like one if you wanted to get anywhere. Even if I wore contacts and no one would notice my stunningly beautiful eyes. The thing is, any of you guys, have you ever heard the phrase, "it takes one to know one"? People like us can always recognize each other if we look hard enough, and they were definitely yokai, most of them oni. I know who you're thinking of, and I was too, but I didn't see him. A bunch of them came straight over to me, and the first thing out of their fucking mouths was, "Hey, Vox Dono." I recognized some of them from the old days before the battle with Tokugawa, when I had to send them away to stop them eating my human subordinates. We went up on the roof to get away from everyone for a bit, and these arrogant fucksticks were talking like we'd all just had a stupid argument and everything was okay now. So it turns out, I was right. They were with a branch of the Yakuza made up mostly of yokai. That was around the time when business people were all looking to get in on real estate. Long, boring story, didn't turn out well for anybody. Mrs. Jackson owned quite a lot of property, and it was just a dumb coincidence that I happened to be there when they came to talk with her. I tried to say something cute about how long it had been since anyone heard from me and how cool it was that I'd outlasted Tokugawa and his people. I said his hair was stupid, because it was. Granted, it was the 80s and everyone had stupid hair, except for me, but that wasn't the point. They laughed it off, and I kept smiling. But I wasn't interested in anything they had to say. I'm pretty sure they knew that too. But still, they told me all about how business was going, and they'd heard rumors of my exploits, but no one knew whether any of the stories were true, and I was just waiting for them to get to the fucking point. Sure enough, after a few minutes, one of them says, "You know, Vox Dono, no one's fronting the cash for your bounty anymore." I look at the others, and they're all nodding. I shrug and I say, "That's good. I don't think anyone could afford me the way inflation's been going." They kind of laugh again. I can tell they're really serious though. "You should come back with us, Vox Dono," says the one who's been doing most of the talking. "Things are a lot different now. We could use your help." I'm thinking, God damn it, not again. So I make some noises and excuse myself to go grab another drink, but they fucking follow me downstairs and won't go away. And that woman they came in with is still staring at me. So I have to go right back up to the roof and listen to more of their crap. It's all the same shit I've heard before, talking about how they need people to learn honor and respect again, and that no one knows what the hell they're doing, and we need some respectable people like me. Oh, my goodness. They were saying they need some respectable people like me to help keep humans in line, which I didn't appreciate. I'd had about enough of that, so I was asking who was keeping them in line. They kind of roll their eyes and say something about their boss being a pansy who won't let them eat humans anymore. I admit, that makes me pretty curious. At this point, I don't know how many of the old guard have survived to modern times. Yokai tend to be very long-lived, so any of them smart enough to not get killed by Tokugawa or his hunters could conceivably still be around. I tell these guys that they seem pretty stupid, and so it's obvious their boss is the only reason humans haven't killed them already. That fucking bastard has the nerve to tell me that I know all about getting killed by humans. It's okay. he says. Every yokai got beaten at some point. No one knew the kind of weaponry humans would develop or how many of them there'd be someday, so don't worry about it. I'm not worried, I tell them. I have better things to do than obsess over 400-year-old crap. Yeah, you're handling it like a champ, he said, and they all just kind of snicker at me. They've gotten drunk enough to be chummy, and one of them is leaning in close enough for me to smell his breath. I cough, and I wave my hand away like... And I ask how he's going to handle his boss finding out he's still eating humans. They get very quiet after that. It was only one night, he says. Isn't it a big deal? It was one time. It's usually a big deal for whoever has to pick up the pieces and tell the cops what happened, I tell him, quite logically. How exactly do you plan to go about that? Now the guy is all huffy. Ooh, you all want to talk, Akuma, blah blah, telling me a demon has no right to criticize anyone's eating habits. Well, I don't eat human flesh, thank you, and the yokai who can only eat that and nothing else doesn't go to parties. So this asshole doesn't have any excuses. And then someone asks me if I've been eating properly. When I tell them I've only been eating human food, they say, and I quote, "No wonder you're such a pussy." Well, something nasty might have happened because there were only 4 or 5 of them versus 1 me, and I wasn't in the mood to go easy on them. And they knew it too. Poking a hungry demon is bad for your health, but suddenly I hear someone say, "Break it up, boys, this dork's not worth your time." And there's the woman from before, standing there with about a dozen very nice young ladies, mostly in string bikinis. "Why don't you all find the hot tub and see if there's something else to do," the woman says, and she grabs the loudest Oni and hauls him off. I didn't see her for the rest of the evening. I'm still pretty teed off, so I say fuck it, and I go down to the hot tub and I get an invitation to go to a girl's room with 3 of her friends, and who am I to be rude to a lady? Or 4 ladies for that matter. God only knows how much I had to drink that night, but it was a lot, because I woke up the next day with my contacts still in and most of my clothes missing. That was the least of my worries, because I got a call on the hotel phone to say Mrs. Jackson caught wind of my escapades and threw all my things out into the hallway. Luckily, a bellhop put everything back into the suitcases as best he could, so I didn't lose much. It didn't feel great. I fully admit it, I don't like to hurt anyone who's been kind to me. I wrote her an apology on hotel stationery and got a maid to deliver it for me. I was still in the young lady's room the night before, and of course it was obvious what had happened. I played it off pretty well. Only to the point where one girl asked if I would rather come back to Haiti with her on her family's yacht the next day. It turned out she was serious and her family did own a yacht. So I graciously accepted. My head hurt like hell still and I needed some breakfast, so I went down to the hotel restaurant, ordered the biggest, hammiest omelette they had on the menu, and sat down to drown my sorrows. I tried to imagine a lovely holiday to far-off places I'd never been before. But all I could think of was those assholes talking about Tokugawa and how no one back home had anyone looking for me anymore. Isn't that the absolute stupidest thing you've ever heard, clan? I've been avoiding more than a quick stop in Japan for centuries, and assuming those guys were telling the truth, it was now safe to return. But I was just kind of depressed that no one cared enough to want me dead anymore. So here I am, at a nice table, all by myself, feeling like a total failure. People are walking around near the hotel restaurant, and I hear high heels clicking straight in my direction. Lo and behold, the yokai woman from last night is standing there glaring at me like I just spat in her coffee. She was very put together, wearing one of those stupid 80s business suits with the giant shoulder pads. I guess she was sort of attractive, objectively, but she gave me the willies, and the feeling was obviously mutual. "Vox no," she says. "May I join you?" "If you like," I say. I wish she'd go the hell away, but she grabs a chair and sits down across from me. Next thing I know, the waiter's bringing her some ice water and bagels or some shit. I can't get up without looking like a dick. So I smile and ask her if she has somewhere else to be. And it doesn't work. That voice always works, even on yokai. She says, "Yes?" But she's still giving me this shitty look, and I have no idea what to make of it. And then she tells me, "Suzuki-san won't be bothering you again. Thank you for letting him run his mouth about eating humans. I know at least one of the boys was hunting again, but I hadn't caught him yet." "Ah," I said, "so you're their boss?" And she nodded. I hadn't expected to see you here, Vox, dunno. Now that I have, I guess my biggest question is, are you happy? Now that threw me for a loop. I didn't know what to say, so I just smile and say something about going on a trip with good food and good company. Probably gonna have a good time, and I tell you, Kindred, that woman brought her fist down like Thor's hammer. It cracked the table right down the middle. I'm gaping at her and she snaps at me. I've been looking at you for over 4 centuries straight, and this is what you've been doing? Fucking around like a goddamn frat boy? Well, I take a look at her. I really, really look at her. And then it hits me. Sorry, Onigiri, I tell him. Nice tits, by the way. He says, damn straight. And though he's keeping up the illusion of a human female, now I can hear his real voice. Don't be too curious about it, guys. It kind of sucks. It kind of sounds like...
You know the worst part about this whole thing? I didn't know if I wanted you to be alive or dead. If you were alive and actually trying to get another clan together, I'd have heard about it by now. You were alive and actually trying to get another clan together, I'd have heard about it by now. You were dead after Tokugawa's attack. Your body would have been found, and I would have given you a decent funeral. But no, here you are, Vox Akuma, the voice demon, getting wasted and running after lingerie models. Do you have any pride left? Or did you just friggin' give up?
I'll tell you this now. Onigiri, you were very wise to confront me in public, or I probably would have done something drastic. I just said, really? I wasn't aware that I was being graded. Well, people notice things, and yeah, I'm judging you. I didn't spend all this time chasing down rumors so I could find out my lord spent 4 centuries being a dumbass. You have the potential to do anything. What the hell are you doing, wasting it like this? Oh, I said. I'm wasting my potential, am I? My potential for what, exactly? Am I supposed to go to the White House and talk him into handing me the whole country, charge him with my sword of flame, and claim this land for Clan Akuma? You of all people should know it doesn't work that way anymore.
You've had all this time to do something like that. You could have taken over anywhere you liked. But no. I guess that was too much effort.
Oh, Onigiri, that is what you sound like. He's trying to argue with me. He's saying that isn't what he sounds like. Onigiri, you need... Oh, it's what he was doing at the... He's fucking arguing me. He does sound like an old man Jenkins. He does. He does. There's... Oh, Kuroha, thank you for the Akaspa. I'll read that out after the story. So at that point, I think my waiter had the food ready by that point, but I was sitting here yelling at this lady, and she was yelling right back at me. The table was falling apart. Honestly, I felt sorry for whoever's job it was to handle things. They just let us talk, and I don't blame them. So I said, what the hell do you think I should have been doing instead? You know what happens when a demon is around humans too long, and you're still sitting there telling me that I was wrong? Is it because you're still snacking on them like that little shit? Would you believe me, everyone, if I told you that our cute, funny little moderator once looked me in the eye and said,
I told you, it's fine. I killed him.
Because he did. Apparently in their organization, anyone caught eating humans gets taken for a walk and never comes back. It turns out that after the yokai left Akuma Castle and word got around of Tokugawa's victory, he decided to give humans a chance. I got my
family to pose as humans and move into the local village to see if they welcomed us. Well, they did. We told them they needed help, and they treated us like their own family. They told us they wanted to honor Lord Akuma's legacy.
Now, to tell you the truth, I thought Onigiri was taking the piss, just messing with me. And for one thing, I met his wife before. Yes, he's married. Yes, chat, Onigiri is married. And his wife hated humans so much that she hated me looking like one. I still don't know how he got her to try living with them. But then he pulled out his wallet and he unfolded about 20 little pictures and he made me look at every single one like Hughes from Fullmetal Alchemist. By that point, he'd had 14 children. And God only knew how many generations of grandchildren, and most of them were human, or at least partly human. You could see a little bit of horn here or there and a bluish skin like his wife, but most of the kids just looked like normal humans.
None of them have ever eaten anyone,
Onigiri told me.
No one in our clan or any of our neighbors are allowed to hurt humans. If they get caught, they end up like Suzuki-san.
Well, I had no idea that any damn good actually came from anything that I told him. So I said, I thought you were bitching at me because I haven't done anything worthwhile. Make up your mind. He just smiled. The manager was hovering right near us, so Onigiri pulled out his checkbook and started writing something to cover the damages. This is what can happen if you use your gifts properly, my lord, he said.
So what if you don't have an actual clan to rule? You can still influence people and do amazing things. I know you like humans and you're not compatible with them. I don't know what to tell you about that, but you should find a way to be who you really are. The good parts. Not a total moron.
And I cannot emphasize enough that this was not the Onigiri I knew. Back in the Warring States era, he was an absolute terror. Now he had a huge family. He was enforcing a code of safety for humans, and he was lecturing me like he knew everything. He gave the manager the check, and suddenly, he looked right at me and said, "Come back with me." Of course, I said, "What?" And he said, "Forget the hot girls and the booze. Come back to Japan with me. We have a lot of catching up to do. I want you to meet my family." You're trying to lure me into a trap, I said. I set foot on your door, and the moment Aoi sees me, she crushes my skull like a bug. Oh, thank you. She won't do it in front of the kids, he protested, and we sort of laughed. Seriously, though, his wife is scary as hell, so I just promised to think about it. Long story short, I didn't go to Haiti with the underwear models, or the girl with the yacht, or any of the nice people who wanted me to party with them. I returned to Japan, for the first time in a long while, and I had a perfectly lovely visit. His family's not as rich as a lot of other clans, but they have a very nice house in the mountains. It's pretty remote. Aoi doesn't have to spend a lot of time looking human, and there's a lot of there's a lot of room for children of all shapes and sizes to run amok. I'll admit she didn't kill me, but she doesn't like me very much. Complained the whole time that her husband never stopped whining about whether Vox was doing alright. I don't think she ever will. Incidentally, this is why we ask you not to simp too hard for Onigiri or let him go on too long about his family, out of respect for his very fucking scary wife and their privacy. He's asked me to make it clear that he's happy to be a part of the clan, but he will not be doing his own streams or a voice reveal or anything besides moderating my chat, so please don't ask, okay? He's a busy little man with lots of obligations already. He's also agreed to stay off social media because he's a smartass and I don't want him to say something embarrassing where the world can see it. You are welcome to make art of him and post it on Twitter under #Akurillic, though. He does get a kick out of that. Anyway, I had to leave shortly after because I didn't want to cause trouble for him, but it's one of my fondest memories. I don't have many moments of real peace or clarity I can look back on, and to know that my actions led to it, well, that was something special. That's the one story I can remember from the 80s. That was fun, wasn't it? Let's have a look at the Akaspa. Dear Mr. Akuma, I'm very much enjoying your voice, and I made a little Vox doll for you. I'll give you a big hug, because I'm too short to kiss your face. Good luck. Oh, thank you, and here's a hug back, and thank you very much for making the doll. Oh, yeah. Hang on, I need to find, I need to talk about my gamer chair, because someone made it recently. I need to make sure that I credit them. It's by LGSSVT_0616 on Twitter. It's very, very good. Hold on. Would you like to take a look? There it is. It's very cool. I'll go ahead and I'll link that in chat right now because it's a very, very cool design. They deserve some attention. How are you guys enjoying the story? Is it all going okay for you guys? I've been having a lot of fun. Going into this, I have to admit, I was very nervous, and sometimes I'll trip over my words because I am looking at notes while I'm reading this. My memory is not what it used to be, so... This cup of tea is really fucking good. Oh, another Arcuspur from Feronia. Thank you very, very much. That's super generous of you. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. It's not something that I was really prepared to do when I signed up to be a part of NIJISANJI, but I'm glad I'm getting a chance to do it. Coconut, thank you very much. Someone said this was fanfic. No, this all happened. This is all real. No. Most of this is coming out. Most of this is coming like just from how I remember it, and then I'm referring to my notes if I get lost. Clockwork, thank you for the super. Ricky Low, thank you for the super. Bido, thank you for the super. Lots of lovely supers today. What tea? Oh, it's just English breakfast. It's therapeutic. I need it to kind of calm my nerves sometimes. PPP poo again. Thank you for the super great stories, Peepaw. Okay, Orion, another head when? Maybe there'll be another one in the last story, eh? Eh? Because we do have one more. It's quite short, but we do have one more. Hang on, I don't think the chat box is in quite the right place. We just need to move it over by just a bit. There you go. One more. It's a little short, but we do have, like I said, we do have one more. So. Ooh, quickly before we start, another Arcuspur. Thanks for always being so supportive to your kindred, even with your own stories, which could have been traumatic. Thanks again for all the efforts by you and cute Mr. Onigiri. Yes, everybody say thank Mr. Onigiri for helping me assemble my notes and for being such a great moderator on the streams. That's a really generous Arcuspur. Thank you, YYC. Thank you very, very much. Tamagu, thank you for the super. Tsukimi, thank you for the super. And Vox's Cockwash, hey again, thank you for the super. And Yui, thank you as well. Your Dorito when? Never. Not until you change your name. Right. You guys ready for the final story, eh? Mimlo, thank you for the super. Oh, I'm really sorry you're feeling awful. Yeah, that vaccine booster is a bitch, but I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you're feeling. You'll feel better within a day. I'll tell you that. Kindred Anon, thank you for the super. DMing for Luxiem or Niji someday. Ooh. Now that would be fun. I have not thought about that until now. A Luxiem Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Ooh. I'd definitely like to DM for that. Ooh. I hadn't thought of that. Ooh, that's very... Ooh, that's really something, actually. I'll run it by the boys. Arerere, thank you for the super. Karoshin, thank you for the super. Kay, thank you for the super. Kora-chan, thank you for the super. Tsubaki, thank you for the super. And no, thank you for the super. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Oh, and Vox's Cockwash. Hey, how to make my lord remember me. Yeah, you know, you just kind of have to... If you do want me to remember you, just try and find a name as creatively awful as that one. Sleepy Ghost, thank you for the super. And Sephrodisiac, thank you for the super as well. Yeah, people seem to like the idea of D&D. Okay. One more story. And last, and definitely least, I'm going to cheat a little bit and tell you a story that I told you just a couple of days ago, okay? It's embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you. I know I said this happened a couple years ago. But after the stream, Onigiri was giving me shit, no pun intended, and reminding me that it actually happened on New Year's Eve, 1999. In my defense, 2 years or 20 is pretty much the same thing when you're 400, and I was pretty fucking drunk at the time. I might as well have been in another dimension. That was when I was trying to be a little bit more social, reconnecting with people I knew from the old days and having mixed results. It's... well, yokai are okay to hang out with, but you have to be careful. Do not ever challenge an Oni to a drinking contest. For one thing, they're bottomless fucking pits, and for another, they like to hang out with kitsune, and those bastards are always just waiting for you to pass out so they can shave your head or something. No offense, Nina, I know you wouldn't do that. What I'm saying is, I know it's probably smarter for me to be friends with other people like me, but I don't know, humans are just more fun. I obviously like you all quite a bit, or I wouldn't be here today, telling a story about... you know what? I'm definitely stalling. Yeah. It was December 31st, 1999. For those of you who weren't there, those were the days of the big Y2K scare. Everyone was worried that computers all over the world would crap out. Did you get it? Because of the date changing from 19XX to 2000s. It was a software thing. I don't know. People were talking about it a couple years in advance. Companies spent hundreds of billions of dollars fixing everything up, and a lot of people decided we were all going to die. Now, I have lived through plenty of times when everybody thought it was the end of the world, and lost their fucking minds, and I wanted to stay away from the big celebrations where someone might do something stupid. I was feeling okay about it because I'd met some people, humans, who thought I was about their age, you know, late college, early graduates. I was living in the UK by this point, just getting by, and it was really nice to have some good mates, some good chums. None of us wanted to make a big deal over the new millennium. Just have a couple of pints and then an evening at home. But Jesus Christ, the pubs were busy that night. I'd had a few drinks too many, and then many more than my mates did. And I know I said I must have had too many noodles from this great little place we used to go to, but I think I remember now. I had decided, as the oldest and most responsible person, to stop by McDonald's and buy every single fucking thing on the menu. And we got back, put on the Emperor's New Groove, and a quote along, everything was going perfectly. And then I woke up on the couch. I don't know what had happened. The movie was over. Everyone was chilling. I was still drunk off my ass. And then I felt it. The rumbling. I've always followed a human diet as closely as possible, which means I have human bodily functions. All of them. I excused myself to go to the bathroom, and there I embarked upon a journey that will live on in song and legend unto the end of days. I took a shit so colossal that I don't know where it even came from. It was like Back to the Future, except instead of me going back in time to make sure my parents got together, all of the future shits that I'll ever take leapt backward through time and piled up in my friend's poor, defenseless toilet. I'm not fucking kidding. It was like some kind of space-time singularity opened up at my ass. Maybe it was some kind of message or a warning for what would happen 20 years down the line. Or karmic retribution for not taking the whole year 2000 thing seriously. I don't know. I also don't know why I thought I could flush this monstrosity, and it would just go right on down and everything would be fine. It was not fine. Nothing was fine ever again. I just want that bathroom to know that I am deeply and sincerely sorry for what I put it through. I wish I could buy the plumbing some flowers. Maybe send it a tasteful "sorry for destroying you" card. I staggered out into the living room, 50 pounds lighter and wishing for death. What I did not know at that moment was that I took so long that my mates decided to play a prank on me and hid themselves to pop out and scare me once I left the bathroom. Little did they know, I was a shell of my former self and immune to any emotion but deep regret. All I did was go up to the guy who lived there and croak, "Mate, I've destroyed your toilet." Do you know what those rotten bastards did? They laughed. Well, the joke was on them when they saw the crime scene. If you're watching this now, I'm very sorry. I'm not sure he is watching though. I mean, it's not that 40-year-olds don't know what VTubers are. But that's the thing about having fun with college kids. They don't stay college kids. They get a little older and maybe a little less dumb. It honestly depends on the person. They find work of some sort mostly. They settle down with a nice girl or guy and kids start coming along. For a while, keep in touch texting. Which was, of course, brand new at the time in 2000, but Onigiri insists that we both have phones in case I needed rescuing from something. I may or may not have sent him a couple dozen drunken messages about how I needed to go to the hospital and get a shit transplant. But seriously, staying friends with people is tricky. I love being the fun uncle. I really do. It's just, when it's been 5 or 10 years and you haven't visibly aged, people really do start noticing. At 15 years, they ask if you're a vampire or something. And they're not really laughing anymore. 20 years, they're not laughing at all. It wasn't so bad before everyone had social media and they could instantly find your picture from that New Year's party where you destroyed Mike's toilet. You could say, nah, mate, I look just as old as you do, your memory's just shit. And then you would laugh, because feces. These days, they can open Facebook and hold their phone up to you and wonder what the fuck's going on. You Keanu Reeves or something? I mean, I can always convince them it's their imagination, but that shit gets so old. Like me. Seriously, it's put such a damper on my social life with humans. Up till now, I couldn't come out and tell people that it's fine. I'm just an immortal demon looking for some new pals. The internet as we know it was relatively new, but all it would take was one person posting my photo and someone else recognizing me. People comparing notes. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but historically, humans have been pretty bad at dealing with things they don't understand. They can't even handle things they think they understand. I've had to leave a few places in a hurry when someone started asking questions and I wasn't there to shut it down before it got out of hand. Honestly, Kindred, sometimes I wonder if I'm even doing the right thing, even now. NIJISANJI has given me the most incredible opportunity I've ever had, and all the benefits of having a clan without the risks, you know. The other boys know who I am, what I am, and they fully accept me. You will have too. As much as you say, I've done for you, you've done for me, and more. Thank you all very, very much. I should end it there, but now I'm in a bit of a mood. Almost feels like... That's the thing about leadership, right? You always have to be careful how much information you share with your followers. I don't want to treat them like children and never tell them anything whatsoever, but there are so very many things I'd feel better not knowing. You know. Like how the you know, this is the whole poop story thing, you know. Some of you might be better off not knowing that, but you know, there you go, right? Well, that's that. Thank you all for listening. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? I liked it. Yeah. You know, after having spent so long, I just sort of... You do sound like that on a... Okay, he doesn't actually sound like that. I don't know. I think in the moment I was like, oh, I need to make up a funny voice for Onigiri, and he sounded like a farmer. I mean, it was pretty funny, wasn't it? I don't know. If there's anything I want you guys to take from this, it's that you should really embrace the stories that you're not comfortable telling, because a lot of them are just really funny, and you really do have to learn to laugh at yourself eventually, don't you? I mean, I like sitting on my fucking high horse and being liked by so many people, but at the end of the day, I did decimate my friend's plumbing unintentionally back in 1999. And all of you have to live with that uncomfortable truth now. Anyway. Let's read a few supers, shall we? Oh. Hold on. Luke. Thank you for the super. Yorka, thank you for the super. I'm glad that you enjoy my voice. Orion Nebula, I'm sorry there wasn't more head. Mimlo, thank you for the super. Big hug for you too. Okay, but who is in your MySpace top 8? I never used MySpace. I knew it was gonna die long before it did, okay? It's the gift of having lived so long. It's incredible foresight, okay? Bido, thank you for the super. Thank you for the hugs. Yami, thank you for the super. I love you too. I can't read your name, but thank you very much. It's the cutest poop story I've ever heard. Thank you. Iknan, thank you for the super. Sao, thank you for the super. Shumo's love, thank you for the super. Coconut, thank you for the super. And Yoko, thank you for the super as well. Tarushka Boop, thank you for the super. The Midnight Slaps, Deep Blue and Good in Red have got me in a chokehold. Thank you for recommending them. If you got any more, I'm all ears. Oh, Vampires is really, really good. Vampires is my favorite. One of my favorite things to do is to sort of like plan out the plot for a movie to the tune of like songs. And so the Vampires is one of those songs that never really gets old because of like all the scenes I can come up with kind of being set to that song. Una, thank you for the super. Jean, thank you for the super. Krispy Kreme. Good evening, Papa. Today I finally found the courage to leave the workplace, which has given me nothing but trauma for 6 years. I'm so proud of myself. Congratulations. Congratulations. Recently, there have been a lot of changes going on. This hot new band of male VTubers came out, and you know, I've benefited greatly from having a lot of new clanmates to hang out with, and you know, a lot of good stuff has been happening, and I'm glad you get to partake. Good job. Aku, thank you for the super. Stiffneck Gaming PH, thank you for the super. I'm glad you enjoyed the 1999 story. Your first super. Oh, it's good to see that. Really good to see that. No, thank you for the super. Is this the same cabin you broke into during Christmas? I think it is, yes. Yeah, it is. Diachu, so, for those of you who don't remember, Diachu used to be called Diachu in brackets Vox's Fleshlight, and I was like, oh, they said they'd be changing their name. And then I checked, and now it says Vox's Cocksleeve. Hooray. Well, I'm glad you're at least changing up the way in which you want me, the way in which you want to worm your way into my head. Thank you for telling us your wonderful stories, my lord, and thank you for sharing your wonderful name with us. Jin, thank you for the super. Dear my lord, thank you for the advice. I decided to engage in advanced studies after talking with my family. Love you. That's great, and I'm glad that you did so after talking with your family. You came to the conclusion that you wanted to follow what you love, and that's great, and I'm sure that because they approved of it, that they're going to be just fine. So that's great. I'm really glad you had some reassurance there. That's wonderful news. Jackson, thank you for the super. In any way zoned by Ike. For the Red Shogun. That's a cool title. I'll keep that. Vox Akuma, the voice demon, and the Red Shogun. Thank you. Kay, thank you for the super. I can imagine you in a movie like What We Do in the Dark. Ooh, modern word. Oh, like What We Do in the Shadows. Oh, that would be really funny. Thank you for the super. G, thank you for the super. Cherry, thank you for the super. Linden, thank you for the super. Mwah, of course you can. Meikai, thank you for the super. I love you too. Chaki, thank you for the super. I love you too. Arerere, thank you for the super. I will pay attention not to poop in my friend's home. Thank you, my lord, for sharing a precious experience. Oh no, I mean you can. It's just that, you know, I made the mistake of like, you know, doing it a lot. Zan, thank you for the big super, my lord. I like to hear your story. We love you. I love you too. Thank you very much for this. Jade, thank you for the super. Dear my lord, thank you for telling us your stories. I'm glad that I can get to know you better. I enjoyed your stories a lot. I love you. I love you too. Thank you. Makida, thank you for the super. Laia, love you too. Thank you for the super. Protechung, thank you for the super. Your voice reminded me of the good old days spent in London while doing my master's degree. Enjoyed it a lot. Thank you, my lord. I'm glad I can remind you of a good time. Thank you. Xiao Mai, thank you for the super. I'm glad that you enjoy knowing more about me in spite of the third story. Thank you. Ash is back. Back from finals. Sobs it was suffering, but I got another 100 in economics this time. Sheesh. Well done, Ash. Finally caught a stream. May I get a reward? It's been so long that I need a hit of that Vox Akuma drug. I got an empty mug here. Just because you did so well on your exams, Ash. Well done. My darling, thank you for the super. Jay, thank you for the super. That was funny. Jay, thank you for the super. Mercurial, thank you for the super. Roku, thank you for the super. Linhith, thank you for the super. A super chat for Onigiri. Oh, I'll make sure to buy him some new bath bombs. Thank you very much. Tsukimi, thank you for the super. Have I ever been in love? Or did you say single for 400 years? It varies. I don't know if I'm ready to tell those stories yet, though. Yunhan Lan, thank you for the super. Down Atrocious, thank you for the soup. Thank you for the super. Fanta Otofu, thank you for the super. Tsuki, thank you for the super. Yaru, thank you for the super. Tsukime, thank you for the super. Kumamoi, thank you for the super. Maya Fukuda or channel, thank you for the super. Amazing stories. Yes, we're gonna summon Zhongli in 5 days. I'm very excited. Migao no, I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you. I love you. I love you too. Thank you for the super. Whoa, there's quite a few coming in now. Cat, thank you for the super. Tsukime, thank you for the super. Sleepy Ghost, thank you for the super. What was my rice purity test result? I don't mind sharing mine. Mine was like a 28. Saku, thank you for the super. Nat Chung, thank you for the super. Pico, thank you for the stupa. Stupa? Super. You paid your rent, so now you can simp via donos again. Oh, good, good, good to hear. Diachu, thank you very much. Lord, I'm very breedable. Give me one chance. Why is everyone surprised? I figured that for someone who's lived that long, it's kind of high. I'm just gonna... Okay, I don't want to dox him, but... Mistus is lower. Dwayne, thank you for the super. Sarina, thank you for the super. Oh, wait. Oh, the chat is stuck. Hold on. I gotta open another window. Okay, let's start here. Yiknan, thank you for the super. Sao, thank you for the super. Dwayne, Shumo's love, thank you for the super. Coconut, thank you for the super. Yoko, thank you for the super. Darushka Boop, thank you for the... Oh, wait, no, this is from a while ago. Oh, no, the chat... Oh, no, wait, no, it's fixed, it's fixed. Okay. Okay, there we go. Laverne, thank you for the super. Shitang, thank you for the super. Shumo's love, thank you for the super. Venti, thank you for the super. Lucky, thank you for the super. Hibiki, thank you for the super. Lige, thank you for the super. Ferrelin, thank you for the super. Mika Simon, thank you for the super. Ooh, lots of lovely supers coming in today. Mew, thank you for the super. Ooh, well, I'm glad that you found the stories interesting. Oh, you were thinking... why you go on about spit takes so often? I figured that would be what you want. Of course you can have a little kiss. Mwah. There you go. Good luck. Good job with your test. Yotsura... something? My katakana is still bad. I love Vox. I love you too. Bowley, thank you for the super. Korn, thank you for the super. And I think that might be... the last event. Oh, good. Well, thank you everybody for all of those lovely supers. Stream's only been going for about an hour, but that's all the stories I've got to tell you guys today. So yeah, no, I'm really sorry that I don't have more. Oh, Amelia with a big Akaspa, thank you so much. Dear my lord, I really like your voice when you drink tea. It's so charming. Gonna have a kiss? No, 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 not at all. Your English is completely fine. Mwah, there you go. No worries. Ash, you need to make up your fucking mind. Did that kiss have tongue though? Which one do you want? You're like, oh, I was thinking a kiss, and I was like, all right, a little kiss on the forehead, and you're like, no, but more spit, and I'm like, which one do you want? I'm not a wind-up toy. Blearmoon, thank you for the super. Nora, thank you for the super. Jingya, thank you for the super. I'm glad everyone's had such a good time. Ooh, Down Atrocious, thank you for the super. Thank you for the terrible dump truck stories. Oh, that'll happen to you guys. That'll happen to you guys as well. Don't you worry. It will run, thank you for the super. Did my lord kiss today? Thank you for the super. Astre, thank you for the super. A French kiss on the forehead, Onigiri. Ugh. That should be embarrassing. Kisaki, thank you for the super. Oh, I love you too. Mwah. Oh, Reese, thank you for the super. Tsuki, thank you for the super. And big Akaspa from Tracy. Thank you ever so much. That's really, really kind of you. Thank you so much. Akachat with no message either. Tang, thank you for the super. Tamagu, thank you for the super. Mwah, mwah. Oh, you passed your exam. Oh, well done. Well done, well done, well done, well done, well done. Ivy, thank you for the super. Your first one. I'm glad that I could have it. Pudding Lee, thank you for the super. Dinner M, thank you for the super. Ash, thank you very much. Okay, kiss was fine. Good night, see you around. We'll savor the flavor of spit today. Of course you will. Mwah. Oh, and another Tracy with another Akaspa. Good lord, thank you so much, Tracy. That's insanely generous. Good lord. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Ava Yu, thank you for the super. Love you too. David, thank you for the super. Thank you for the super. Haswan, thank you for the super. Gabby, thank you for the super. Oh, Tracy, oh my goodness, thank you for another Akaspa. Yiknan, thank you for the super. How do you do that? French kiss on forehead, I have no idea. Tracy with another Akaspa. The fourth Akaspa for the day. It might have been more, actually. Tracy, goodness me, you're going nuts. Hi, darling, there's a poem I like very much that I want to share with you from Rabindranath Tagore. Oh my god, you're doing more? What the hell? Tracy, let my love like sunlight surround you and yet give you illumined freedom. Hang on, I need to read these all out. And then Tracy again with another Akaspa that says, that's what I want to say to you. I love all your laughter, but your is really cute and I love it. I love you. I love you too, Tracy. That is ridiculous. You've really outdone yourself there. I've never had such a genuine, like, this is the kind of donation that you don't forget, and that's gonna, wow, that'll help me so much. Thank you ever so much. You're incredibly generous. Oh my god, there are a couple I missed while I was reading that. Let me just quickly get those. I don't know I can't read your name, but thank you. I love you too. Janice, thank you for the super. Blink, thank you for the super. Kirin, thank you for the super. Luli, thank you for the super. Oh yeah, 92 in the rice purity test is fine. Like, everybody just, no score is wrong. They're all just different. Ashton Darvel, thank you for the super. They're all red. Oh, Tracy, you really have found a way to worm into this old demon's heart. I couldn't tell you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the alert box is going to be delayed for quite a while trying to figure out how to process all of these donations. I'm glad I had a chance to read that little poem for you, Tracy. Okay. Yes. With all of that, I think I'm going to shoot off for now. I'm feeling quite vulnerable and a little anxious after having shared so much of my past. So I'm just going to... 7 Akaspa, is that the total? Aries, thank you for the super. Oh, I'm glad that your dad likes my voice. But yes, I'm going to go take a break. I'm going to have a nice hot shower, cool off, and then maybe take a little nap. So yes, thank you all very, very much for your incredible generosity today, and for listening well to some of my favorite stories from my childhood, history, whichever ones they are. All feels like childhood. I mean, it was 80 years ago, right? And I'd like to remind you that the third story is in there because Onigiri wanted it to be in there, and I was saying thank you for helping me to compile my notes. So, just to let you know. Migu, thank you for the super. Yoko, thank you for the super. Yum, thank you for the super. And Dinner M, thank you for the super. Got a sexy voice, sexy tone, which many people find very attractive. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, that's all from me, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you guys very much. Oh, Yui, thank you for the super. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off there. Thank you guys.
Zook, nah.